Coming up next on the CHGO Cubs podcast, presented by Toyota and Bet365, how sweet it is. The regular season is officially over, but the fun is really about to begin. Playoffs? That's right, playoffs. CHGO Cubs next. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs podcast driven by Toyota. Let's go places and Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Use code CHGO365 at signup. That is a wrap on the regular season and a good one for the Cubs and Cubs fans. 92 wins in the regular season. Thank you very much.
We did it.
The number one wild card spot. We didn't get the division championship we wanted, but 50 wins celebrated at Wrigley Field, and now they will get at least 3 more? 2 more? Well, at least 2 more.
At least 2 more. I'll take 2. Utah, give me 2.
I prefer it be 2.
I prefer it be 2.
But 2 wins.
Luke, it's a fun time right now to be a little reflective, and you brought up something great in the cold open about, and it made me think automatically too, just picture yourself, Cubs fans, back in the middle of January and February, and the schedule comes out. And you look at that schedule, and the September, you go, oh, man.
Yeah.
They got that big series at home against the Cardinals. Could this possibly mean something? Could it be playoff implications on the line? Well, a tiny little bit in terms of locking up the home field for the wild card round. But, man, the St. Louis Cardinals did not even put up a fight in this series. And the Chicago Cubs are going to the playoffs with a 92-win season, 50 wins at home. What was your preseason prediction, Luke? Was it 90?
We're going to have to go back and look. It was either 90 because that's when I graduated high school, or it was 91 or 92. Cody had 91.
Okay. So you guys are dead on.
We're right there.
You and Cody were dead on. So the big picture about all this is, we're going to go back and forth on all the little details and the nitty-gritty, but when Cubs fans started looking at that schedule in the wintertime, getting ready for this season, Chicago Cubs delivered exactly what they wanted us to. Well, we wanted them to do. 92 wins, going to the playoffs. Obviously, in sweeping the Cardinals this weekend was, I don't know, just felt a little sweeter.
Oh, it did.
A little sweeter, just batting them around for a couple days.
Yeah, kick the roadkill bird out of the way. He is Joey Christopoulos. I'm Luke Stuckmeyer. Sarah's running the 1s and 2s for us and will be in the postseason as well.
Why the W? Proudly.
We do want to tell you guys, by the way, we will be expanding our postseason coverage. Even though we've been here with you guys every step of the way, every day, we're cranking out Cubs content. We got shows. I'll give you the full details on that coming up. We know games 1 and 2, Tuesday, Wednesday at Wrigley Field, Cubs hosting them at 2:08. So basically, the lighting, everything should be exactly the same as it was today, and maybe the results will be the same as well. We'll give you the more information about all that stuff coming up in just a bit. We've got a preview show we want to tell you about that will be live at 12:30 on Monday, so don't miss that. Join us at 12:30. Hi to everybody in the live YouTube chat. Make sure you subscribe to the all-new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel. And we want to tell you, before we get into this now postseason show, about something special we're still doing here in the month of September, hopefully right on into the playoffs. Think about your favorite athlete. Every single one of them had a coach, a mentor, a family member who believed in them first, someone who saw their potential and gave them the confidence to go for it. That's what Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America does every single day. They create those life-changing connections for kids in our community. So this month, here at CHGO, we've been partnering with Big Brothers Big Sisters of America to help fund their mission. Your donation can ensure another child gets a mentor, a role model, a champion in their corner. You could be that champion. If you're watching on YouTube, just look for that little icon. You can donate right on the screen. It's the little handshake in the corner there, the little button. If you're listening in podcast form to this, head to bbbs.org/allcity. Let's help the potential of the next generation. Let them get there. and be in their corner. Podcast listeners, again, it's bbbs.org/all-city. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. See the live YouTube chat. Everybody's here, right? Craig Brindle's here. If you would have told me, like you said at the beginning of it all, Joey, 92 wins, you would have had 3 guys hitting 30-plus home runs. And all of this would have happened without Justin Steele in the rotation. I would have said, wow. Well, I would have said, wow, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and we're going to have Jared Wylls on a little bit later in the show because we want to ask him some questions because he's been inside the locker room talking about Cade Horton. But we didn't walk into game 1 of this season maybe thinking Cade Horton could maybe help us out this year. Maybe by the end of the year he'd graduate to the major leagues. Let's see what he's got and roll into year 2. We didn't expect the performance that we got from him. So there's been a ton of unlikely heroes. There's been a lot of obstacles and challenges in the way of the Chicago Cubs, namely this week with Cade Horton now out at least the wild card round and possibly moving on beyond that. So, I mean, the guys that got you here, though, are some of the foundational pieces and core pieces that Jed Hoyer has put this team together around. And that's what's important. And the good part, too, is that they're trending the right way heading into next week. Yeah. And that's what's going to be really interesting to watch. Offensively, there's some guys right now that I know every matchup is different. You're only as good as your next day's starter. But if you ask me walking into next week, could we have Seiya Suzuki hitting 4 home runs in 4 consecutive games? Michael Busch absolutely on a tear right now. Nico Hoerner flirted with 300, came up a little bit short. I can go on and on about different guys that look really good at the plate right now. And I'm not here to say that, you know, is it going to factor against the San Diego Padres? We're going to find out. But I think this Cubs offense right now, I think they're ready to meet the challenge. And that's what's important right now.
I think one thing, if I take 2 things away from this last weekend of baseball, yeah, sure, it's always nice to beat the Cardinals, and we'll get to their hack move later in the show. But if I'm taking 2 storylines, it's A, that Horton is going to be out,
yes,
for sure. And then the other is Seiya's bat finally coming alive. You mentioned it, like 4 straight games with a home run. Not only does Seiya have 4 straight games with a home run, and it doesn't mean it's going to carry over, but it's better than the alternative. Watching a guy who looked just completely lost at the plate, who was so important to the team when they were at their best this year. Don't forget, this Cubs offense at one time and this Cubs team was the best team in baseball. And when they were, Seiya was in the thick of it. He was right in the middle of it with that offense. And so to see him feeling good coming into the postseason doesn't guarantee anything, but it's way better than the alternative.
And honestly, my favorite, you want to pick your favorite home run of this Seiya run this last week, is that I know we're going back a little bit in the time machine, but I thought Nolan McClain against the New York Mets was incredibly impressive. And Seiya was able to bat him around a little bit, and he was one of the few guys who was able to square him up. So if we're talking about high-end pitching, and trust me, tomorrow for our preview show, we're going to talk about the San Diego Padres and what they offer specifically from the bullpen. I just really like where a lot of guys, what their mindset is at the plate right now. I really like where it is. Now, to be very fair, we talked about this before the show, and I do want to tell the Cubs chat and the Cubs audience, right? I think maybe a month ago when we were talking about how bad the Cubs offense was, we also said, well, you know, when the playoffs start, it's 0-0.
Yeah.
You know, you start all over. It's a 50-50 toss-up. I'm not going to now all of a sudden say because the Cubs offense has looked amazing for the last 6 days that all of a sudden that they're going to be just fine against the Padres. I think the same rule applies that you don't know what's going to happen. But it's all about putting yourself in a position to execute and accomplish what you want to do, and that's going deep in the playoffs.
Yep.
And that's what the Cubs have done. They have scored 4 or more runs 16 times in the month of September. They have scored 5 or more runs 9 times in the month of September, which is about once every 3 games. You can't really ask for more in terms of just putting yourself in position to hopefully have that type of success starting next week, and the Cubs have done it.
By the way, I believe the Reds and Mets both lost, which means the Reds will be backing in, and it also means
congratulations, Terry Francona.
Also means the Cubs division is getting 3 teams into the postseason.
It is
3 teams. So while we all looked at that NL West and said, "Oh boy, they got a lot of teams that could be good." You got the Diamondbacks, you got the Padres, you have the dominant Dodgers. Heck, you have the Giants. Who knows? Everybody knew the Rockies were a walkover, but it's the Cubs division with 3 teams going into it. So we'll see how it all plays out. But Seiya thing for me, the offense and the 32 homers and over 100 RBI, it's the season we've all been asking for.
Yeah.
It didn't play out exactly scripted the way it was. I'd like a little more linear line. It had a few peaks and valleys in it for sure, but the end result when you look at it is exactly what you want. And the other sign that I see, again, it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but when the Cubs were at their best, PCA was at his best, and he has shown signs of life here too. And so while not every storyline is perfect going into the postseason for the Cubs, right? Like, not everything is perfect with Horton out, and obviously Steele's not around, but the Cubs, who looked sort of dead in the water and completely tired and exhausted at one point, they look like they could be getting it to the postseason at an okay time. I'm old, so I am one of those people that says, hey, give me a 150-game season.
Yeah.
At 150 games, the Cubs would not have been hitting the postseason at a very good look.
And I believe Seiya, I could be wrong, Chad, help me out. I think Seiya played his 150th game today, and that's been the biggest thing, Luke, is that he has stayed healthy. And earmuffs, Seiya's agent, I think playing designated hitter has helped that out. I think that's helped him stay on the field for the long haul. Now, I'm not going to run away, and no one should else either, that he's had an incredibly rough last month and a half, and specifically the second half of the season. But still, 30 home runs, over 100 RBIs. I think it's a great accomplishment for Seiya, and everyone knows his talent at the plate. And everyone knows that when Seiya gets hot, watch out. And those are the things that we've been seeing over the last 3, 4, 5 games, is that Seiya might be getting hot right now. And that changes the complexion of the entirety of the lineup, 1 through 6 right now. It changes a lot of things. And let's just go back to what's funny about it also is this last week has been a little bit of a full circle, in my opinion, for the Chicago Cubs in this regard. It's that when we walked into this year, I think we crossed our fingers hoping that the bullpen would be good. The bullpen's been good. Mm-hmm. I think we looked at this rotation. We're walking into the postseason basically with the rotation minus Justin Steele that we walked into the year with, and we got off to a great start with our offense. And for me right now, I know people are crying right now, tears about Cade Horton, and I've seen some comments that, we're done, it's toast, it's over. This is going to come down to the Chicago Cubs offense, in my opinion, at least in the near future, specifically this wild card series going up against that Padres bullpen, and they're in good shape, and that's what it's going to take. And it never was really about the Cubs starting pitching, and let's be honest, the deadline, they didn't really go out there, and they didn't fortify. So what are you going to do? You got to lean on what your strengths are, and right now this strength is that lineup. It's Seiya Suzuki, it is PCA, it's Michael Busch, it's Nico Hoerner. It's going to take a village, but that's the position that they're in right now.
I guess as of this moment, the Mets and Reds haven't lost yet, but they're both very close to losing. Yeah. And it will be fascinating to see which teams spent and what they did and how that goes when you get to the postseason, and what they spent on both in the offseason and the trade deadline. It is about pitching. I see, hey, Bobby Blanco's joined the show. What's up?
Hey, Bobby. Postseason, baby.
I think it's interesting to look at all of those things that you're talking about. Like, where are we at? The starting pitching, if it is all about pitching in the postseason, the question is, what pitching? Which pitching? Is it the bullpen? Is it starting pitching? Is it both? And the flip side is still there. The flip side is still there when you're talking about the offense, because the offense impacts that other pitching. And I know we're going to talk a ton about the Padres in tomorrow's live preview show at 12:30, but it'll be interesting to see how they stack up. The Padres definitely have a very good bullpen, but they've had some of their struggles at times too.
Yeah, no,
everybody does.
And the playing field right now is pretty even, right? Obviously, the Los Angeles Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani breaking his own Dodger franchise record by hitting his 55th home run today. Look, they're always going to be dangerous. They're always going to be the most talented probably of the bunch, and also they're the team that also spends the most too as well. But the playing field is even. It's definitely going to come down to execution. Craig Counsell, when you talk about pushing those buttons of when, how, why, who, what, where, when, with all those different pitching matchups. And I like the Cubs' chances. I'm saving some stuff a little bit today. I don't want to empty the chamber on my postseason thoughts about the Chicago Cubs, because that's for tomorrow's playoff preview episode. But I will just say quietly, I'm feeling good, at least about this next week.
Wrigley Field will be electric, says Christian A. And it will be, as it should be, day baseball. Yeah. I love that part of it. All right, we've got more coming up. Jared Willis will join us to talk about Cade Horton. We're going to also hear from Cade Horton. Let us know what you think about the loss of Horton heading into the Wild Card Series. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Hey, Cubs fans, at Toyota's National Sales Event, we got a long lineup of vehicles for summer fun. Toyota's 25 vehicles available with all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. The RAV4's legendary versatility and the Grand Highlander's adult-sized third row is totally for real. The Tacoma's wild side comes standard. From job sites to campsites and game nights, there's an all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive Toyota to get you there in style. So find yours at Toyota.com. Or visit your Chicagoland Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. And hey, Cubs fans, the regular season is over. But playoff baseball is right around the corner, so it's the perfect time to become a CHGO diehard and upgrade your fandom today. You get access to our exclusive written content like Patrick Norton's newsletter, a free t-shirt, plenty of discounts on future merch and events, plus access to our CHGO Discord lounge where we all hang out and talk Chicago sports and so much more. So go to allchgo.com for the latest information on how you can join the thousands of CHGO diehards in our community. We can't wait to connect with all of you on an even greater level.
Let's be real for a second. The world has gone soft. And that's fine when you're talking about cream puffs and pillows and angel food cake.
Ooh.
Everybody gets a trophy just for showing up. Everything needs to be bubble wrapped. Soda used to have some kick. Now it's just about pretty colors and easy fizz. RC Cola's not a soft drink. It's just a damn good cola. The original cola that doesn't fold under pressure. RC is the OG cola in a world of spineless soft drinks. No trends, no gimmicks, no glow up. RC hasn't changed its stripes since 1905 because it didn't need to. It's the same bold, crisp flavor it's always been. RC Cola tastes like a punch right in the thirst. Do yourself a favor. Grab some RC at your local store. Stock up for all the parties, all the school celebrations, all the football games, and all the Cubs playoff games. RC Cola is the move for whatever you are doing. Welcome back. 2-0 win. Cubs sweep the Cardinals to finish the regular season.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, birdies.
Bye-bye.
Go play golf. Go play golf. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, go intentionally walk someone else.
Best fans in baseball can now go think about next year. Hey, here's what we're doing. I want to tell you quickly about what we have coming up here for playoff time. All right? Tomorrow is the playoff preview live at 12:30. All right? Justin Roman's going to join us for that. He'll also be joining us for every postgame show. We'll have full postgame after every playoff game immediately after the game. And unlike the times when we go just an hour, we'll probably go longer than an hour.
I would anticipate a lot to discuss.
And we hope you're going to join us all for that. But we also hope you're going to join us to watch the games live. How so? Live watch-alongs. We're going to sit here right with the chat up, and we're going to watch the game, and hopefully you'll jump in right here on the CHGO Cubs YouTube channel. We're going to watch it live. Watch it with us. All the agony, all the joy, hopefully more joy than agony. All the anxiety, for sure.
And then my one piece of advice for that watch-along.
Yes.
So sometimes people work hard in this country and around the world, and sometimes you have a job, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes I'm not advocating. I'm just saying sometimes people will sometimes work and do a little extra work on Monday night, wake up on Tuesday, get to work early, sometimes have themselves an early lunch. And then they come back to the office and they go, not feeling that good. Maybe it's time to take a me day, a health day, head home. Sometimes maybe people get home around, 1:45.
Yeah,
and then they're
especially if you've had a bad taco for lunch.
Yeah, if you've had a bad taco. And the next thing you know, maybe you're watching a watch-along of a certain CHGO Cubs, and maybe you're watching playoff baseball.
That's a
and
good
nobody's
point.
The wiser.
You know what else happens sometimes? That happens. Some people just fake an illness. Other people just turn it on at work.
Oh.
You know, you just turn it down, put in the earbuds, listen to us. You can watch the screen going by, and just keep your reactions limited, and the boss will never be the wiser. That's okay, too.
2 words, the poops.
Hey,
get you there.
Speaking of exciting stuff, Die Hard sale. We got that lined up with the postseason right now. It has already started. It's a merch sale and a Die Hard sale all at one time. There are 2 ways to join right now. $36 is one way, limited edition shirt, or step up and grab the limited edition branded Bills Die Hard hat for $59 before they sell out. They're going to go fast. I'm telling you right now. Either way, all the perks still included. It's the premium content. It's the Discord lounge.
Patrick Norton newsletter.
It's all of those things. The discounts on merch for Bulls, Blackhawks, everything that's going on. And by the way, current diehards can also purchase this. So check it out right now. We got tons of stuff going on. We're going to talk to Jared Willis still about Cade Horton and where that's going. But first, I wanted to at least hear from Horton. He talked at Wrigley Field today about the disappointment and just where he's at, how this all unfolded. This is courtesy of Marquis' Twitter page. They put it out on Twitter. Marquis did a great job all year. Let's hear from Cade Horton.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot. I think it was just a perfect storm. Unfortunately, there wasn't one pitch, there wasn't one cough. I think it was just the combination of fatigue, cough, then I go out and try to throw 98, and, it just gets out. I don't think there was any protecting it. I think it was just kind of a matter of when.
I mean, it is really crazy to think about. He was really sick before he made that start, and he was coughing a lot. And maybe that weakened the rib area, the fatigue, and all the coughing. And we've all had coughs bad enough to where your ribs get sore. But we haven't gone out and then tried to throw 94 after that. Is that what did it? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. He said he would go over and do it all over again because he didn't feel any of that. All he was doing was going out and throwing, having been sick. And you just never know. Who knows? Did it impact that he had been throwing way more than he'd ever thrown in his career? Well, we talked about that over and over going into it. I just feel bad for him because he was at the peak. We had gone from a month ago saying, where does Cade Horton fit into a playoff picture if the Cubs get there? To then, I think he's the number 3 guy instead of Tyone. To, maybe I'd put him between the 2 lefties. Wait a minute. He's clearly the number 1, and even the Cubs acknowledged that. He was going to start game 1. He wanted to pitch through this pain if he could, but he couldn't. And so here we are. It's just, I feel bad for him.
It's a really tough blow for a pitcher who had his major league debut this year.
Yeah.
What a special moment that is. And the fact that he got on the type of heater that he did, and I've been calling him the cheat code around here, and now that the cheat code is kind of away from the Chicago Cubs, it's depressing on a lot of different levels. And, we are going to talk to Jared here in just a couple seconds, in a couple minutes, maybe on the other side of the break here, and get more of some details in it. So I'm not here to speculate. But you can't help but feel like, Luke, maybe it was about 6 months ago we did the top 10 Chicago Cubs what-ifs of all time.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if this is going to necessarily crack the list because I'm not shutting the door on it.
Okay.
I'm not shutting the window necessarily on it yet, but it does make you think. It kind of makes you go back and think what if Pryor or Wood got hurt before the 2003 playoffs?
Yeah.
What if they got hurt before the postseason? Because truly, Cade Horton was having that type of run. Cade Horton was having a Mark Pryor type of run. Cade Horton was we were running side-by-side stats with him and Paul Skeens, him and what Jake Arrieta did in 2015. And the fact that he has to get shut down right now, not out of anything that's structural or that needs surgery or it's a rib. And I know that sounds crazy. I broke my ribs once, Luke, falling off a fence at Lollapalooza at an Iggy Pop show.
Oh, excuse me.
Not the same thing. Not the same thing, but I will tell you it affects everything that you do, from coughing to laughing to breathing to sleeping to lifting.
Yes.
You could feel it at any moment, and as Jed Hoyer said yesterday, it was altering his mechanics. And if the injury is altering his mechanics, that is a red flag enough for me to probably shut him down for right now and see if you can clean it up. The last thing you need is that something like this that's going to heal on its own turn into something else. We were already monitoring his innings and baby-proofing the room in terms of the pitch count and how deep you wanted him to go and could we get him ready for the playoffs. And he talked a little bit about fatigue, so it sucks. There's no other two ways to say it. You got to move on. You got to keep playing. He wasn't on the bingo card when the season started. He emerged, and he's on there. But, no, you got to move on. You got to do what's best for him. And if it's altering his mechanics, I think they did the right thing.
We'll do it, but there's no sense in really playing the what-if game because I don't even know if you could play it throughout the whole season.
100%.
If Steele's not hurt, does he get as much opportunity as he did? Would it be in a different role? What if Ben Brown? I mean, what if Ben Brown was emerging and pitching better than he was? Would Horton have been forced into that? Maybe he would have had that opportunity. Would it have lasted long enough for him to...
Showed his hamstring.
All of it. So there's 100 what-ifs leading up to it. All I know is his future is crazy bright. I hope it's similar to a Schwarber situation where Babe Ruth walked onto the field. Not in that I hope that the Cubs let him walk away, clearly.
Yeah.
But more so that I prefer it be a situation where he does come back, and when he comes back, he's huge, and he's still a big piece of this. We'll talk to Jared more about it, but it's super frustrating for him because, man, he was a rocket ship taking off in the second half of this season. And he was going head-to-head with Skeens. He was going head-to-head with Skubal. And, yeah, they don't have it, but if you can get Matthew Boyd pitching like he was in the first half, if you can get Shota to show you that he's not the guy that's been pitching at the end, but the guy that's been one of the best pitchers in the National League for 2 years now, and Tyone has looked good, that's enough to get you through this series, and it's probably enough to even get you through the next series if you can get there. So let's just hold off and wait and see, and we'll talk to Jared about some of the possibilities. Where does that lie? What does it mean? But the Horton thing is, it's tough, but there's no sense playing the what-if game. Here we are, the postseason's starting, and I still have 3 starting pitchers that I feel very good about, and I wouldn't feel terrible if Colin Ray and Assad had to make some emergency piggyback start. Not every team has this. Guys, we're talking about Dylan Cease possibly being unhittable for the Padres. He's had some bad starts this year. Everybody has.
Yeah, look, and the last thing I would probably say about Cade Horton is that he looked awesome in that start.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was walking guys or he was shaking his arm. You know what I mean? He looked awesome. He was pumping 97, 98. But no, I want to echo and further your point that the train keeps rolling, man. And that's been the theme of this Chicago Cubs season. And I understand completely from a Cubs fan's perspective when you kind of start looking at it now that when you talk about Colin Ray and when you talk about even a Jamison Tyone or whatever, these guys don't necessarily have the highest pedigree or...
Well, Tyone's look pretty good.
No, right, but I'm saying
I know what you're saying.
The perception of can you imagine if we started Colin Ray in a playoff game? I'll be honest with you, man, I kind of can because this is what this Cubs team has been like this season. He's gone out there. He's won 11 games. Now, is it optimal? Is it ideal? Does it give you the pitching advantage when you play it on paper or when you go to presenting sponsor Bet365? Maybe not necessarily, right? Maybe not necessarily. But at the same time, this Chicago Cubs team is, yes, it's had some stars, and some stars have budded from the bloomed and budded off the branch this season. I get it. But a lot of these guys are just veterans that go to the post and get the job done. And again, it's going to come down to our offense and scoring runs. I think 4 is going to be the magic number with that offense. And if you're telling me that you can give me 4 runs in a playoff game, I'm cool with running Colin Ray out there. I'm cool with running the matchups out there and letting Craig Counsell play a little bit. And I think Jamison Tyone also deserves that type of trust as well moving forward.
Also remember, those starters will likely go less innings than they did in the regular season because that's
100%.
Just been the trend around Major League Baseball. And guys that might be starters might also be filling in some of those roles as just small, multiple inning guys. Jared Wylls is coming up after a break, all right? We're going to talk about that. I see the Reds officially did lose now.
Okay.
And the Mets are 2 outs away from officially losing, which would mean the Reds can back up and celebrate the big red bus getting in as the 3rd team from the Cubs division.
Unbelievable.
So we're gonna talk with Jared Willis about Horton in just a second. We're gonna talk about Nico Hoerner and his season, and I still want to mention what went on in this series against the Cardinals because I think they done us dirty. I think they did us dirty before they got swept out of town. It was filthy. But first, a word from our sponsors. All right, here you go. If you're looking for a spot to catch your postseason games here for the Cubs or some Bears games, we've got the place that checks all the boxes. It's chef-driven with elevated bar food that's locally inspired. They've got the best smash burger, and tavern-style pizza is amazing. It is almost home in Wrigleyville. Not just about the food, though. They also have tons of games, pool, darts, big buck hunter, and shuffleboard. Wall-to-wall TVs, perfect for literally any sport. That means, again, Cubs playoff games or Bears games or college football. They are CHGO diehard members, massive Bears fans, so yes, the Bears are repped hard. They've even got a covered beer garden with TVs. You're not missing a thing, rain or shine. Just a block north of Wrigley Field, the ideal pregame, during game, postgame, Cubs spot, daily specials, happy hour. It's all worth your time. Go check it out. We love them. They are Almost Home Tavern.
And if you're going to go to Almost Home, you might as well go to the playoff game for the Cubs this next week. And what better way to do it than to hop onto the Game Time app, because it gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's incredibly easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means that you can trust you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. Fees are always included, so you know what you pay up front. They're easy to find and buy. MLB tickets, any event, concert, whatever it is. They give you views from all seats in the venue, the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, all that good stuff. So keep in mind, they also have zone deals, so save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats. There's the lowest price guarantee, and they will credit you 100% of the difference. So here's what you got to do. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create that account, redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today.
Swept the Cardinals, clinched the number one wild card seed all in one weekend, a beautiful time, and now games 1 and 2 coming up on Tuesday and Wednesday at Wrigley Field. All three would be at home. 2:08 start time for these first two games. By the way, our guy Jared Willis will be at the ballpark on Tuesday, so we will have exclusive content coming from there as well. Jared joins us from home very quickly to just talk about Cade Horton because, listen, there's a lot going on. He's resting up for this series. This guy's got to be built. We got to taper him a little bit, just like some of the players have been tapering. Jared, we just wanted to dial in real quick and ask you about Horton. What does this mean? Like, okay, he's talking about being out now, and he's saying, let's see where I feel for 15 games. Is this a Chris Sale situation? Like, I've seen some people mention the NLDS. Does that seem realistic to you, even if everything went perfectly?
No, for a couple of reasons. Number one, in order for him to be on the Division Series roster, he has to be put on that roster when the Division Series starts, which he'd be ineligible for because he's on the injured list. So the only scenario where he could even be added to the Division Series roster is if somebody else gets hurt. And so you get that like injury exception. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, he cannot be on that roster. And honestly, I think with a rib fracture, if you're talking about 15 days, to not only be back in shape where you feel okay throwing, but to be ready to pitch in a game, let alone pitch in a playoff game and potentially a game 5 of the division series, that's a lot that you're asking in that situation. So in my mind, like the most optimistic timeline would probably be an NLCS. Because yes, technically there's a scenario where he could be back for game 5 of the division series, but there's just too many variables there. And I think for the sake of his long-term health too, that being overly aggressive with him now, it potentially costs you too much down the road. So I think championship series would be the earliest that you'd have a chance at seeing him on the mound.
Yeah, Jared, you got the opportunity to be in the locker room yesterday. I know it's really early in the process. Did they intimate at all what the plan is? Just did they say anything about they're going to like sit and let it rest? Because as you mentioned, I'm worried about what ramp down, ramp back up would mean. Like if we got the first indication or report that he's throwing again, maybe you start a new timeline. But are there any plans for Cade Horton to even be throwing over the next week? Did they say anything like that?
There wasn't a whole lot, and part of that was just because of the timing of how it all went down. Because during pregame, when we were speaking to Craig Counsell in the dugout, Cade Horton was out in the outfield doing his throwing session. He was in the middle of it, and so we finished talking to Counsell, and everyone heads up to the press box. That's when Horton comes in, and clearly at that point indicated that something didn't feel right, and he wasn't feeling the way that he wanted to. And we found out later that he was talking about not feeling like he could get full extension. But because of the timing of that was, after they kind of closed off the field and things like that. But it happened that Jed Hoyer came up into the marquee booth. And I think everybody probably saw that, heard that, and he talked to them. And so then a bunch of us grabbed Hoyer in the press box dining room on his way out, just so we could ask him about it. And that's when he told us, hey, he came out of that throwing session feeling like he didn't get full extension. And Hoyer's words, he was pretty vague just because at that time it was still so fresh that it was difficult to say with any certainty, here's what we're going to do, or here's how this is going to look. All he said was, we're going to give it a few days and see where he's at. So my guess would be Horton's probably not going to do much at all for the next 3 or 4 days, and then they're going to wait and see how he feels. Because originally the plan was he was going to throw a bullpen session today. But obviously nothing like that is going to happen anytime soon. And so realistically, you probably give it 3-4 days before you ask him to do much, and then assess from there. So that also is why I think hoping that he would be back for like an NLDS Game 5 is really, really optimistic.
Right. With a fracture, I mean, if you're letting that time period of where he's doing absolutely nothing other than some cardio, if you cut that, if you expand that out to 5 days, 6 days, now the ramp up period is going to be way much more than it was before. And I start to wonder too, if is the big part of this. If and when he does come back, and the Cubs, if they have extended their postseason even longer, what is his role when he comes back? Like, I would assume it's still as a starter, but would it be as a starter for just 50 pitches, right? Like, how do you think they would use him if they are lucky enough to have the opportunity to use him? And then the other part of it is, and what would he be like? He was on this unbelievable tear, but you don't know that that's going to continue anyway.
Right. You don't. And that's even without just the factor of him being a rookie, because for any rookie, to go from performing well in the regular season to now the stage of the postseason, and potentially when he would be returning late in the postseason where the stakes are really, really high. So for that reason, I think that if he were to come back, you are probably talking about somebody who is going to give you, maybe 3-4 innings in a start, and then you're kind of piggybacking with somebody else. But here's potentially a silver lining to this, though, is like Luke, you alluded to this earlier. There are guys that are well suited to handle that kind of a role, to come in after him and give you 2, maybe even 3 innings on top of Horton. So, whether it's Colin Ray or somebody, or Assad, who we saw look pretty good today. So I wouldn't feel terrible about that. And honestly, you guys, we all know how the postseason is. None of these starters go very deep into the games anyway. So if Horton is there and he's giving you 3, maybe 4 innings, that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world.
Piggyback off of that, I wanted to ask you about, so Jared Wylls joining CHGO Cubs, has done wonderful work for us all season long inside the locker room. Check out all of his wonderful work at allchgo.com. So piggybacking off of that, Jared, I want to get your take on, I just want to get your reporter hat off, maybe baseball man hat on for a second. about Bruce Levine's comments today on Marquee Network talking about Cubs. He was warning Cubs fans to be open to the possibility and probability that the Chicago Cubs might opt for an opener during one of these two wild card games. So we're talking about piggybacking. We're talking about how to cover these Horton innings. How would you react to that? And I think that was a subtle pointed shot at could Shota Imanaga be looking at a situation where he comes into a second or third inning. What's your take on that, especially after they used Javier Assad today, the amount of pitches that they had?
Yeah. So I think if you'll allow me to keep the reporter hat on for a moment, and then I'll take it off. And because I know from being there when the question about an opener is asked, that's not something that counsel brought up. It was posed to him by Bruce, and which, is Bruce's, that's his prerogative to do that. But Bruce posed that possibility, and all that Craig said was rolls are out the window. It's about outgetters, getting 27 outs. That's all that counsel said. And so I think sometimes there's, a little bit as a reporter, sometimes you can frame a question in a particular way and then use the answer that you get to kind of back up the speculation that you have. That's not to say that Bruce is necessarily wrong, because we could see an opener. But just for what it's worth to the people watching and listening, sometimes those reports have a lot more to do with what question was asked and how it was asked than any information that was offered up to you, for what that's worth. But now, stepping back from that, I'll say I'm very much in support of, in a playoff series, especially these short playoff series, I'm all about use every weapon that you have at your disposal. So if that does mean send somebody out there for the first inning to get through the first three batters of the Padres lineup and then bring Shota in after that, I'm all for it. I don't have any problem with that, because I do. It's kind of like, I'll just borrow what Craig said. I think some of these roles, you kind of have to let those things go, because in the playoffs, it becomes just about you have to win the game that's in front of you, especially, again, in a wild card series where it's 3 games. There is really next to no margin for error. So do I expect to see an opener? I think it's certainly possible. Counsel showed us during the regular season that he will do it in situations where he thinks it's going to help. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it. But again, for what it's worth, that's not something that he offered up on his own. It's very much coming from a question that was posed to him. But all that to say, to wrap this up, counsel and other managers are very good about, I'm going to play certain cards close to my vest. And so if I am planning on doing something, I'm most certainly not going to tell the media, so then we can blab it all to the internet for, the Padres and everybody else to see.
I like the idea of Soroka starting a game for Shota. I don't want to burn anybody bigger than that early in the game, but that might be somebody that I would use early in the game to get through that first time through the big boppers of the Padres line. We'll see how it goes. We only got you for 2 minutes left, Jared. What do you think this playoff roster will look like? Because we're going to do a lot of this on tomorrow's playoff show, but I'm curious what you think. Is there a player that you think could be left off that will make people mad, or vice versa, somebody that gets added on where you're like, yep, fans are going to like that?
Well, I think, the second part of that is what comes to mind for me right away, and I think that's Ballesteros. I think he gets on the roster, and I think fans are going to be pleased with that, because as he has shown in the, admittedly the limited number of at-bats that he's had, he can provide some offense. He can provide you some spark, and particularly in this wild card series where it's at home, the weather's going to be warm. We have 80 degrees all week, so this is prime Wrigley Field at its best for an offense. And so in my mind, I think Ballesteros needs to be on that wild card roster, because he's going to give you a spark on the offense. And so somebody like Willie Castro doesn't get a spot, and so you lose a little defensive flexibility for the sake of another spark in that lineup.
Very interesting. We'll see how it all happens. Jared is going to be at the ballpark again on Tuesday. Look for his stuff both on Twitter, online. Of course, he's in the Discord sometimes, and at allchgo.com. Jared, thanks so much. We appreciate it, bud.
Thanks, guys.
The great Jared Wylls. We're going to talk more about this roster stuff in just a bit, and Mo Baller specifically, and also Nico Hoerner. But first, a word from our sponsors. Oh, get ready for the fall with a new ride. Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake is slashing prices on new cars and giving you big savings all month long. Come in today to shop their model year-end sales event and drive home with employee pricing on every new Chevy model. You can get $3,000 to $11,000 off MSRP, or check out their selection of over 125 vehicles that are priced under $20,000.
What?
Yeah. With one of the area's largest Chevy inventories, you're sure you're going to find the perfect vehicle for you. And as one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, they're able to keep their prices competitive. So you're going to get a great deal. Plus, with Ray's Price Promise, you shop confidently because the price you see is the price you pay. Don't miss out on their model year-end sales event going on all month. For employee pricing on every new Chevy model, shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com, serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
And another one of our wonderful partners. I want to talk to the coaches. I want to talk to the athletes. Listen up for a second, because if you're looking for more athletes to train coaches, Eye on the Ball is where you need to be. It is a company created by CHGO diehards, and it is so simple to use. You create your own profile, you upload your background check, and boom, you're in the game. There's a new promo right now for coaches. You can get up to 6 free months on when you sign up. It could also just be $50 a month or $500 for the whole year. Athletes of all ages and all sports can find you directly, and here's the best part. Eye on the Ball doesn't mess with your schedule, doesn't mess with your payments or your business. You are in full control. We just connect you with athletes who are looking for a coach like you. So if you're ready to grow your coaching business and reach more athletes, go check it out right now. EyeOnTheBall.net. Remember, that's EyeOnTheBall.net. Don't wait, because the athletes are already out there looking for you.
We just talked to Jared Wylls after a Cubs sweep of the Cardinals to finish off the regular season. 92 wins is the total in the regular season. They clinch the number one wild card spot. They will play the Padres on Tuesday and Wednesday at Wrigley Field. 2:08 start time. Games are going to be on ABC.
Which is weird. Very weird.
We will have live watch-alongs going on during each game of the postseason. So we're going to be here the whole time right here on the All CHGO, I should say the CHGO Cubs YouTube channel, excuse me.
Tell a friend, tell a neighbor.
Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a total stranger, and then tell the total stranger's neighbor. So watch along with us. We're going to do that, and then we'll have post-game shows, extended post-game shows for every game. Every time the Cubs win or lose in the postseason, we're going to be here.
Up until the World Series.
That's right.
Yep.
Oh, not up until. Through the World Series.
Through the World Series, yep.
And then probably the parade if we have
And
to.
then the parade,
watch along of the parade.
Yep.
Watch along of the parade.
We're going to be here another month.
We're at the moment, we're planning our own float.
Oh.
I don't know if the Cubs are going to welcome that float, but we planned our own float.
Cross your fingers that we have a good week, because we have other fun celebratory ideas that we're not spoiling yet, because we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Listen, we know that our boss, Jake Flanagan, right away, this is a converted Cardinals fan. This is a converted Cardinals fan who now is pointing out to everybody at work that he predicted 92-70 division champs. However, he didn't get 50% of that was correct. I don't remember if I predicted. I think I said division champs. So, Jake, both of us were 50%.
He just needs something to hold on to, because the Bears. Now, mind, we are winning. We are winning 16-14 Bears right now, but
ugly one right now.
The Cubs are a little more hopeful and less depressing than the Bears.
Listen, this is our first playoff team for the Cubs.
Team.
We've been sitting here with some real dog teams.
100%.
83, you know?
No, and I think this team has worked hard enough and been consistent enough, and I understand, they had a 9-game lead against the Brewers that evaporated.
Yeah.
I totally get it. But at the end of the day, we're still going to the playoffs, and I think that this team has grinded out the opportunity to hopefully play those Milwaukee Brewers a week from next Saturday.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's the driving goal at this time.
Mo Baller, mentioned by Jared, I agree, 100% has to be on the playoff roster.
Earned it.
I'm not sure about the other side of it. Not that Willie Castro's been good, but he gives you some flexibility defensively. If something horrible happens to somebody, he could play a lot of positions. We'll see how it all unfolds. One thing I know I'd be mad about is if he's not on the playoff roster, because the guy's hitting like 300 since he got up here and in September. So I think he's got to be on there. He's been that good.
It's going to be fascinating to find out who's on this roster tomorrow.
This is a shorter series.
Because we were just talking about this at the break. If Mo Baller is on your playoff roster. Now, on Friday, they gave him a quick little cup of coffee at first base. They let him play catcher today.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, they're just auditioning and checking off a box to say, worst comes to worst, emergency situation, can we throw you out there somewhere if we put you on a playoff roster? That's the biggest tell to me that he's in. But my question to you, Luke, is if he is there probably strictly as a pinch hitter, that is the capacity that he is going to provide the Chicago Cubs, at least over the next couple of days, whose spot is he most likely to pinch hit for? Mm-hmm. And then that's the second step of if that is who they're maybe targeting, then who is the backup player that would come in his place?
It's probably a catcher, right?
Carson Kelly, right?
And then the situation becomes, well, is Amaya going to be on the playoff roster? He hasn't been around enough. I would think Amaya is not on this playoff roster, but we'll see. And then, so I would assume it's a catcher, but you also have to consider the fact that while we have seen Kyle Tucker's probably playing I would guess playing DH.
Yes.
That's his position for this first series because his calf is still sore. But if that would regress or something would go wrong, Mo Baller could also be your DH. So that is another place where you still could use him other than just pinch hitting. I'm going to be shocked if the guy catches. Like, what situation?
In a playoff game?
Yeah. I mean, pitching is so important in the postseason. To put a guy that's that far down on your depth chart for calling pitches and catching a game in the postseason, I don't know what the situation would be to have him catch an inning, but it would have to be something pretty special.
I mean, look, I understand that Mo Baller's probably forced the hand a little bit, and he's definitely earned his way onto this playoff team. But even then, they should have been on top of that weeks ago and at least given him maybe the back end of some games, the 7th, 8th, 9th inning, catching some moments right there. The only other spot in the lineup is, let's role play. Let's get into a scenario here. Let's say
what am I wearing?
Second and third, a huge top hat, whatever you want, reporter hat, baseball hat, whatever it is. But let's just imagine here, runners on. Let's just say bases loaded, 1 out, and Matt Shaw comes to the plate. And to this point, Matt Shaw is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out, and you want to replace him and bring up Mo Baller in that situation. You have to have Willie Castro on this playoff roster to fill in for him at that point, correct? So I think that whatever decision that is and whoever they're targeting for those pinch hitting moments, I think that's also going to correlate with who they put on the playoff roster in response to that because, let's be honest, Mo Baller is not pinch hitting for Michael Busch. He's not pinch hitting for Nico Hoerner, Seiya Suzuki, Ian Happ, Kyle Tucker, Pete Crow-Armstrong.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I've gone 12 rounds with, I don't think Dansby Swanson at times this season has deserved the right to hit 4 or 5 times every single game. You could pinch hit for Dansby Swanson, and it's not the worst thing in the world, and move Nico to short. But let's be real. That's out the window. That's not happening. So Dansby Swanson is also a guy you're not pinch hitting for. So there's really only 2 spots in that lineup where Mo Baller could come in and pinch hit. Question is, when, who's it for, and then who replaces that player once that pinch hit is over?
I've heard everything from people want to have Alcantara in for base running. The other question you have to answer is Horton's injury. How much does that impact the number that you carry pitchers versus hitters?
Right.
Like, does that skew it a little bit because now you don't have your number one? So do you think you have to have an extra pitcher?
Go back to the 13. Yeah.
I don't know the answer. We're gonna find out how the Cubs decide to do it. I just know that for me, Ballesteros has to be on there. Alcantara as a runner, That doesn't have to happen.
Yeah.
Amaya, if he's not ready, that doesn't have to happen for me right now. Because you can reset this if you're able to get past through these 3 games. And I know that is counting chickens before they hatch, but it's 3 games. What's the best way to win 2 of these 3 games? That's all you have to think about right now. And for me, Ballesteros at least being on the bench would have to be in that roster.
And Becky's asking and Becky, thank you for coming into our chat all the time. You've been one of the consistent sickos all year long. We really appreciate it.
Yes. We say that affectionately.
Yeah, of course. Come on now. We're all psychos here. Let's go. She's asking about what about Billy Hamilton? And I think that's a great question. If they did want to do the speed and the pinch runner thing and all that stuff, Luke, I'm probably leaning Billy Hamilton over Kevin Alcantara. What say you to that? Just because if we're going to do this, why am I putting a young player and asking him to do secondary leads and try and get the right kind of jump? And why am I asking him to do that in a playoff scenario? If you really need someone to come in and steal you a base or go from first to third or whatever, I'd lean Billy Hamilton. I think the pinch runner thing, though, is a little overrated in my opinion.
Because at least defensively, if I had to switch some things in the outfield, if there was an injury or if the Tucker thing, continues to be a problem, at least I can put a more athletic person in the outfield after he pinch runs, if that is a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. And actually, he's looked pretty good. He's came through again today, scored a run. So, he's done a decent job too. I don't know. To me, like Santana and Billy Hamilton are around in case something crazy happens.
Totally.
That's how I feel about it.
And Justin Turner's there to play first base.
I don't know what they're going to do with Justin Turner because would I think that I could do without Justin Turner if that means getting Mo Baller on the roster? Yes. The trick is who's playing first base if something happens to Michael Busch.
Yep.
You can't be empty-handed. You've got to have that covered somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know who that person is.
No, and when it comes to Justin Turner, if it's Turner getting a pinch hit opportunity too, you're probably also looking at catcher and you're also looking at third base. And I'll be honest with you, I would maybe rather roll the dice with a guy like Carson Kelly than Justin Turner right now. And Matt Shaw and Justin Turner, I think you could probably convince me based on the matchup.
Yeah. Hey, I know I said we'd talk about Nico Hoerner. We will. We're going to talk more about him, by the way, coming up on tomorrow's show live at 12:30. That is the playoff preview. But we want to give a tip of the cap. He didn't reach 300 for a batting average.
He got so close. He was sitting there.
And we'll tell you why that would have been so incredible if he did it. But first off, let's just say, man, awesome season. There were some guys on this team that had awesome seasons. Nico had an awesome season. Busch had an awesome season. PCA had an awesome season. Was it perfect? No. Seiya had an awesome season. Was it perfect? No. Guys, I got to tell you, Dansby had a pretty good season. All the people that get mad about Dansby, pretty good season.
Did he just have the best season he's had as a Cub?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, he did. And so did Nico, by the way. Yep. And so I know there was argument about Seiya, whether this was better than last year. Once he hit 30 home runs and went over 100 RBI, I think this was a better season than other seasons. That's just my opinion. I think a lot of guys exceeded projections or met projections on that team, and here we are. The Cubs jumped that gap from 83 to 92.
Yeah.
Good jump, and you did it without Justin Steele. So I know there were moments where this chat got angry and Twitter got angry and we all got disappointed, but here we are, and we will have a playoff preview show coming up on Monday, and on Tuesday and Wednesday, we will not only have playoff baseball and live watch-alongs here and post-game shows here, but we will have playoff baseball at Wrigley Field with fans in attendance for playoff games at Wrigley Field for the first time since 2018. Can we be happy about that? Yes, we can. And yes, we should be.
After you watch this, just pull up the Miggy Montero Grand Slam and the NLDS and just like listen to the Wrigley crowd during that moment and just and juice yourself up and get really hyped up. And we are so excited to be bringing you all this great coverage. We have so much planned for you tomorrow, and we're going to be on the air for 4 or 5 hours on Tuesday, Wednesday. So we do hope that you guys tune in and tell a friend to come hang out, because that's what it's going to be. It's going to be us hanging out in the chat, talking to you, responding to the game real time, and we can't wait to do it.
A lot of people are going to be there trying to offer you playoff coverage. I'll just ask you this. Were they there all season? Were they? Were they there all season? Were they here in misery with you some nights? I don't know. Were they here joyfully for the last 4 years, even though things didn't go well? I don't know. We will be here for you. We hope you'll be here for us. By the way, Sarah, you're going to be here, right?
Yeah.
Who's bringing the
God.
cupcakes? And Justin's going to be here.
Justin will be here.
And Joey's going to be here.
There will be sweet treats available throughout this whole week, whether it's needed for us to get through it or whether it's something that's good. Yeah.
Either way, there's a possibility I could be diabetic and obese by the end of this playoff.
And if Sarah wasn't going to be here, we'd be in a lot of trouble. We need Sarah very deeply every single day. She's done an amazing job during the regular season, and can't wait to see what she brings to the playoffs. But if you weren't here, we'd be sunk.
Thanks for lost. Yes. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast. We're back here to fly the W tomorrow at 12:30.
We all silly like the mayor.